Mother of God, pray for us. Holy Virgin of Virgins, pray for us. Saint Michael, pray for us. Saint Gabriel, pray for us. Saint Raphael, pray for us. Saint John the Baptist, pray for us. Saint Joseph, pray for us. Saint Peter, pray for us. Saint Paul, pray for us. Saint Peter, pray for us. Saint Paul, pray for us. Saint Andrew, pray for us. Saint James, pray for us. Saint John, pray for us. Saint Thomas, pray for us. Saint James, pray for us. Saint Philip, pray for us. Saint Bartholomew, pray for us. Saint Matthew, pray for us. Saint Simon, pray for us. Saint Jude, pray for us. Saint Matthias, pray for us. Saint Barnabas, pray for us. Saint Luke, pray for us. Saint Mark, pray for us. Saint Fabian, pray for us. Saint Sylvester, pray for us. Saint Leo the Great, pray for us. Saint Gregory the Great, pray for us. Saint Pius X, pray for us. Saint John the 23rd, pray for us. Saint Pope John Paul II, pray for us. Saint Blaise, pray for us. Saint Nicholas, pray for us. Saint Athanasius, pray for us. Saint Basil the Great, pray for us. Saint Ambrose, pray for us. Saint Martin of Tours, pray for us. Saint Patrick, pray for us. Saint David, pray for us. Saint Augustine of Canterbury, pray for us. Saint Boniface, pray for us. Saint Adalbert, pray for us. Saint Albert the Great, pray for us. Saint Charles Borromeo, pray for us. Saint Francis de Sales, pray for us. Saint Augustine of Hippo, pray for us. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, pray for us. Saint Anthony of Padua, pray for us. Saint Thomas Aquinas, pray for us. Saint Catherine of Siena, pray for us. Saint Teresa of Avila, pray for us. Saint John of the Cross, pray for us. Saint Alphonsus Liguori, pray for us. Saint Therese of Lycia, pray for us. Saint Scholastica, pray for us. Saint Benedict, pray for us. Saint Bruno, pray for us. Saint Dominic, pray for us. Saint Francis, pray for us. Saint Bridget of Sweden, pray for us. Saint Francis Xavier, pray for us. Saint Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. Saint Philip Neri, pray for us. Saint John Hughes, pray for us. Saint Louis Marie de Montfort, pray for us. Saint John Baptiste de La Salle, pray for us. Saint John Bosco, pray for us. Saint Leonie Aviat, pray for us. Saint Annibale Maria di Francia, pray for us. Saint Jose Maria Escrivá, pray for us. Saint Teresa of Calcutta, pray for us. Saint Jerome, pray for us. Saint Daniel, pray for us. Saint Simon Stock, pray for us. Saint Vincent de Paul, pray for us. Saint Joseph of Cupertino, pray for us. Saint John Vianney, pray for us. Saint Damien of Molokai, pray for us. Saint John Henry Newman, pray for us. Saint Charbel Maclouf, pray for us. Saint Charles de Foucauld, pray for us. Saint Padre Pio of Pietrelcina, pray for us. Saint Matilda, pray for us. Saint Deborah the Confessor, pray for us. Saint Margaret of Scotland, pray for us. Saint Ferdinand III, pray for us. Saint Louis IX, pray for us. Saint Elizabeth of Portugal, pray for us. Saint Stephen, pray for us. Saint Perpetua and Felicity, pray for us. Saint Cecilia, pray for us. Saint Denise, pray for us. Saint Agatha, pray for us. Saint Christopher, pray for us. Saint Lawrence, pray for us. Saint Cosmas and Damien, pray for us. Saint Sebastian, pray for us. Saint Lucy, pray for us. Saint Vincent, pray for us. Saint Barbara, pray for us. Saint Thomas More, pray for us. Saint Margaret Clitheroe, pray for us. Saint Paul Miki, pray for us. Saint Lorenzo Ruiz, pray for us. Saint Kateri Tekakwitha, pray for us. Saint Charles Wanga and companions, pray for us. Saint Maria Goretti, pray for us. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, pray for us. Saint Edith Stein, pray for us. Saint Bridget of Ireland, pray for us. Saint Hildegard of Bingen, pray for us. Saint Clare, Great,
pray for us.
Saint Vincent Ferrer,
Pray for us.
Saint Rita,
Pray for us.
Saint Martin the Porce,
Pray for us.
Saint Margaret Mary,
Alaco, pray for us.
Saint Catherine Legore,
Pray for us.
Saint Andrew,
Pray for us.
Saint Andrew, pray for us. Saint Andrew, pray for us. Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini,
Pray for us.
Saint Faustina Kowalska,
Pray for us.
Saint Josephine Bakita,
Pray for us.
Saint Genevieve,
Pray for us.
Saint John of Arc,
Pray for us.
Saint Bernadette Soubirous,
Pray for us.
Saint Monica, pray for us.
Saint Elizabeth and Seton, pray for us.
Saint Louis and Sally Martin,
Pray for us.
Saint Mary Magdalene,
Pray for us.
Saint Veronica,
Pray for us.
Saint Roch,
Pray for us.
Saint Juan Diego,
Pray for us.
Saint Rose of Lima,
Pray for us.
Saint Benedict Joseph Lepre,
Pray for us.
Saint Dominic Savio,
Pray for us.
Saint Damra Galgani,
Pray for us.
Saint Jacinta and Francisco,
Martyr, pray for us.
Saint Carlo Acutis,
Pray for us. Saint George, Saint Agnes,
Saint Anastasia,
Saint Edmund
Saint Elizabeth
of the Trinity, pray for